79 Alexander K.
79 Alexander and the parole officer. One individual has been shot.
Distant rivals can make your name pop online, but Bronx rapper Suave Drilly had the whole city talking. Things got wild when his rivals showed up right outside a parole office, a spot that was supposed to be the safest place for him. The Bronx has been buzzing nonstop, and today we're breaking down how things went so far that some people were willing to risk everything just to stop Suave's rise in the drill scene. On October 15th, 2025, Suave had a meeting with his parole officer in the South Bronx around 5 p.m. He'd been on parole ever since he came home in 2024, and for real, he probably thought that was the last place anyone would try to cause drama. But destiny had a different plan. Just minutes before Suave was done, a woman on the street noticed 3 masked guys walking up looking suspicious, and she immediately called the cops. Before the police could arrive to check what was happening, Suave stepped outside and chaos unfolded right there on the block. The masked men ran straight toward him, and things escalated in an instant. They started causing trouble in the middle of the street, while people nearby screamed in shock. It all happened so fast that no one even had time to react. After the commotion, the area turned silent for a moment, and everyone was left stunned. Suave's own parole officer was reportedly the one who called for help, panicking and shouting into the phone, begging someone to get there fast. When the cops pulled up, they rushed to help Suave, but sadly, it was too late. He didn't make it after being rushed to the hospital. The Bronx felt heavy that night, and word spread fast across the city. Suave had tension with a lot of people, and no one could say for sure who really set things off. But once the story hit social media, some people started mocking the situation. Even known names like C Blue were seen throwing shade online. When the news confirmed that Suave was gone, the whole Bronx drill scene lit up with reactions. Lil TJ, one of the biggest rappers to ever come out of the Bronx, had his own issues with Suave too, and that made fans talk even more. The drill wave used to be wild. Crews were everywhere, dropping music, calling each other out, and causing scenes that had the Bronx buzzing nonstop.
I'm like, damn, it's a girl and a boy. So I'm walking, I get close, I see it's him. We lock eyes and shit. Yeah, and it was up after that. We started getting it on. Like, well, we didn't really get it on. Like, I beat the shit out of him, I ain't gonna cap.
But now, a lot of them are caught up in RICO cases, and the movement has quieted down a bit. Still, some loyal members are out there holding it down. Reports say that one of the older members of the drill scene, someone considered an OG, is currently behind bars but still calling shots from inside. Word is he allegedly gave the green light for his people on the outside to move carefully and make their presence known after what happened to Suave. His loss hit the team hard, not just because he was a rapper, but because he'd been part of that foundation since day one. Back in the Bronx, a lot of people from a block called G-Side were deep in their own circles, moving together and building their reputations. Spaz and his close friend Dumb Out were both repping a local crew tied to the Brims, and they were known around the neighborhood for being tight. But in 2018, tragedy struck. Dumb Out lost his life after an incident at a barbecue, and it shook the whole area. His passing caused a wave of tension across G-Side, and Spaz took it personally. That moment pushed him to start the Drills movement, something that would soon make serious noise across the Bronx. Suave and Spaz had grown up side by side, like family, and from the very start, Suave was showing love to the Drills. While Spaz was in the booth making a name for himself in the Bronx drill scene, Suave was out grinding and putting in work for the team. Spaz had been dropping tracks since 2016, but it was in 2020 that he really took off with his breakout hit, Bunny Hop. That track changed everything and kicked off a whole new drill wave in the Bronx. Funny enough, Suave never even planned on being a rapper. One day, he was just chilling in the studio with Spaz when Spaz told him to jump on a beat, and that moment sparked something big. Suave pulled out his phone, opened the Notes app, and started writing right then and there. That's how the track Ops Spotter with Spaz and Good Day Ray came to life. And it went crazy in the streets, especially in K-Flock's neighborhood. Suave came with energy and dropped hard lines like, "You was at home forfeit, I was on the Ray off it, he throw up thumbs off it, got him." The lyrics had that raw street energy. Like, we don't carry heat and we've been in the streets. Suave's verses hit hard, painting a picture of how real things were around him.
Next thing you know, like, I'm in my cube one day laying down and shit. I would get cut over the cube. For me, so like my first reaction, I'm not thinking I'm cut. So when I touch my face, it's like, oh, I feel the blood. I feel the blood, so I just start banging out.
He even mentioned catching people off guard, claiming that one moment in particular left his name echoing all through the Bronx. According to Suave, there was an old situation with K-Flock that had the city talking for months. When Suave came home in 2024, he sat down with P Films for an interview and laid everything out, giving his side of the story. Suave said it all started one morning when he was dropping someone off near Set's side and decided to slide through K-Flock's area just to see what was happening. He walked around for a while, keeping an eye out, but didn't see anyone at first. Then suddenly he spotted K-Flock walking down the street with a girl. And that's when things reportedly got heated. According to Suave, a confrontation went down inside a nearby building, and he claimed he got the better of it. Afterward, Suave said he wanted to prove what happened by getting the building's security footage, hoping to show everyone he wasn't bluffing. He even tried to contact the people who owned the place to get the video released, but it never surfaced. The story stayed alive mostly through word of mouth and his own interview, leaving fans arguing online about whether it was real or just rap talk. And K-Flock wasn't the only Bronx name tied to Suave's street stories. Long before Lil TJ rose to fame, there was another heated run-in between him and Suave's crew. Suave claimed that one day they caught him slipping in the Bronx, things got physical, and they even ended up taking his chain. After word got out that Lil TJ and others had been caught slipping in the Bronx, the streets couldn't stop talking. Suave's track Ops Spotter, featuring Spaz and Good Day Ray, blew up fast and started racking in serious numbers. It had the Bronx drill scene hyped, with everyone quoting lines and debating who he was talking about. But right when it seemed like Suave was about to take off for real, everything came crashing down before he could keep that momentum going. Suave had been caught up in trouble for years, constantly in and out of jail. Back in 2018, he got arrested on a charge related to possession and had to sit down for a bit. After finally getting released, things didn't calm down. By February 2019, he got picked up again on an attempted charge tied to another street situation. It got serious. Suave reportedly put up $50,000 just to make bond a month later. But his freedom didn't last long. Just 2 months later, he got into a fight at the courthouse and was locked up again. Somehow he managed to post bond on that case too, but before long he found himself back inside for another charge related to reckless endangerment. It was like he couldn't catch a break. After bailing out again, Suave stayed free for about a year, still facing multiple cases hanging over his head. During that time, he finally decided to focus on music, trying to flip his story into something positive. But not long after dropping Ops Spotter, his run came to another halt. He got picked up again in 2020 and ended up spending 4 long years behind bars. By 2022, things took a serious turn for Suave and his entire crew. Everything started collapsing fast. Authorities launched a major operation against the Drills after the group had been making headlines and stirring attention all across the Bronx. The police decided to put together a detailed investigation called Operation Drilling, aiming to shut down the whole movement. It was a massive case. Around 20 members of the crew were officially named in the indictment.
I seen her one time, like throughout the 4 years, I seen her one time and shit.
Yeah.
So, and it was closer to when I was getting released. I seen her in May, like right before my birthday and shit.
Yeah.
So when I seen her, it was like the second time I really seen her in a while.
Officials claimed the Drills were one of the most active and chaotic street groups in the Bronx at the time. According to the documents, investigators connected the crew to over 30 serious street incidents that happened across just a few years. Reports mentioned fights, stabbings, and reckless situations that had left the neighborhood on edge. The city was buzzing about it. Everyone wanted to know who would end up taking the fall. One of the most heartbreaking names mentioned in the case was Delilah Vasquez. In 2020, she was tragically found in an abandoned building, and her passing became one of the Bronx's biggest mysteries. People online quickly started spreading rumors about what might have happened, but no one ever got clear answers. Delilah was known to hang around people from both the YGs and the Drills, though she wasn't officially part of either side. Some said she got caught in the middle of something that had nothing to do with her, while others claimed it was all a mistake. The tension between the Drills and their rivals kept rising, and the disrespect only got louder online and in music. Ops were throwing shade like crazy. And one of the most talked about moments came when C Blue dropped Part 2, a track where he took aim at both Delilah and his late friend, Dumb Out. His lyrics were cold, with lines like, "How many ops done died? Delilah got put in the sky." Words that had the Bronx drill scene divided. Some fans called it ruthless rap energy, while others said it went way too far. The drills didn't stay quiet though. They fired back, calling the rumors and disrespect pure exaggeration. On Suave's track, Back on My Bully, he made it clear how he felt about the situation, rapping, "R.I.P. Lila, that had me sick. That be wrong when they talk about sis. So we spinning the peas, looking for the rips. So we spinning the peas, looking for a hit." His words showed how personal it had all become. It wasn't just about rap anymore, it was about real people and real emotions. At the same time, Suave was still dealing with his own serious legal problems. While much of the street chaos was happening, he was behind bars, waiting to see how his cases would play out. The system had him facing up to 15 years if things went left. Prosecutors first offered him a plea deal for 10 years, but Suave turned it down without hesitation. Then they came back offering 8, and again, he refused to take it. It wasn't until 2023 that things shifted. The state came back one last time, this time with a 4-year plea deal. After everything he'd been through, the street beefs, the losses, and the stress of fighting case after case, Suave finally took the offer. After taking the 4-year plea deal, Suave's story took another turn that nobody saw coming. While he was locked up,
I'm jacking him. Yo, that nigga was holding on to his bike for dear life. He knew something.
the Bronx drill scene kept evolving. New faces started popping up, old rivalries faded, and some of the biggest names began signing major label deals. But even from behind bars, Suave's name still held weight. His old tracks were getting shared again. Clips from his interviews were resurfacing, and fans online kept saying things like, "Suave would have been next up if he stayed free." Inside, Suave reportedly kept working on music, writing verses in his notebook and sending lyrics home through phone calls to his people. Word spread that he was preparing a comeback the moment he touched down. Everyone knew his story wasn't over. If anything, it was just being rewritten in real time. But still, the Bronx was changing fast. Some of his closest allies were either still fighting their own cases or had left the streets behind, completely to focus on music. The scene didn't look the same anymore. By late 2024, Suave was finally released, and his return was like a spark in the Bronx. Videos started popping up of him linking back with familiar faces, hitting the studio again, and teasing new songs online. Fans flooded his comments, showing love and saying how they'd been waiting for this moment. He even hinted that he was working on a documentary about his life, something to finally tell his story the right way, without all the street rumors. But while Suave was trying to move forward, the tension around him never completely disappeared. The Bronx drill scene still had deep divisions, and his name was tied to too many stories for people to just forget. Still, he looked more focused than ever, determined to make music, tell his truth, and prove he could rise above all the chaos. By the time Suave agreed to the plea deal, he had already spent a few long years behind bars, so it meant he only had about 1 more year left before freedom. At first, his time locked up wasn't too bad. He was in the same facility as some of his close friends, so the days went by easier. But everything changed after he officially took the deal and got transferred to a different prison upstate. That's when things got real tense for him. His whole environment flipped overnight. Not long after he arrived, Suave met a few guys he thought were cool, but it didn't take long before their true intentions came out. According to reports, they tried to set him up in a sneaky move that nearly turned into something tragic. In the middle of the chaos, Suave ended up getting his face cut, a reminder of how unpredictable life behind those walls could be. But through all of it, he survived, kept his head up, and eventually made it out alive. When he came home in 2024, the very first thing he did was see his daughter.
Come outside, Flocka, come play. Where the bro, come play. Come play today. You always playing on the internet. I want you to come play today.
That reunion meant everything to him. Still, even after everything that happened, Suave didn't change much about how he moved. He found himself slipping right back into the trenches, surrounded by the same energy he left behind. By then, though, the Bronx drill scene wasn't the same. A lot of artists had moved on or switched lanes, but Suave still had something to say. He jumped right back in the booth, dropping tracks aimed at his rivals. On his song, Back on My Bully, he rapped, "Don't mess with no flock, cause you know I'm Big Drill, empty the clip if I spot me a rippy. I just came home and I spent me a 50, what's a label?" Once Suave dropped Back on My Bully, it was clear he hadn't lost his touch. His energy was raw, and his lyrics carried that same Bronx edge that got him noticed years before. The track spread fast through social media and the city streets, with fans saying things like, "Oh, Suave, back outside for real." But even though his buzz started building again, the world around him had changed. The Bronx drill wave wasn't as wild as it used to be, and a new generation of rappers was stepping up with a different sound. Suave was trying to adjust, but the streets kept pulling at him. He was balancing between staying focused on music and dealing with pressure from all sides, old rivals resurfacing, old friends switching up, and everyone waiting to see what his next move would be. Still, he stayed determined to remind people who he was and what he represented. He started showing up at local studios again, connecting with producers and teasing unreleased tracks that had fans going crazy in the comments. Behind the scenes, though, those close to Suave said he was going through it, trying to shake the same cycle that had followed him for years. He wanted to move smart, take care of his family, and finally build something bigger than street fame. But temptation was always around, and the Bronx energy was hard to escape. Even with all that, Suave kept dropping snippets online, clips of him in the studio, throwing up his set, and talking about loyalty, loss, and coming home stronger. Every post reminded people of how unpredictable his story had been, yet how far he'd come. By late 2025, his name was starting to buzz again, not because of drama, but because people could tell he was trying to grow and turn his pain into something powerful. By 2025, Suave was moving like a man with something to prove. He dropped a new track called Exposing Me in Raps, and this one had the Bronx talking again. His lyrics hit different. "I got my own milli, I'm getting money, I don't wanna see y'all. People keep falling, I don't wanna be y'all. Free all the bros who ain't get low, who got hit, who got poked. Be with the G's, be with the gloves. I don't rock with them dudes that's jacking." The track had that mix of pain and confidence that only Suave could deliver, showing how far he'd come while still keeping it real. Even though he was in his late 20s and had a daughter to take care of, Suave still had a wild streak that kept pulling him into drama. One time, not long after coming home, he was walking through the park and heard someone blasting a rival's song. That set him off. Suave confronted the guy, and things got physical fast. Later, he even posted about it on Instagram, laughing it off like it was nothing. In an interview later that year, Suave revealed that it all went down at the same park where he had previously confronted Lil TJ years earlier. That made the story blow up even more. Fans couldn't believe the coincidence. Back in the day, Suave had always been known for letting his emotions take control. He was the type to act first and deal with the consequences later. There were even old street stories about him allegedly running into rivals with his car or knocking people out in broad daylight. And he wasn't shy about sharing those moments online. A little while before his passing, he had even posted a clip of himself dropping someone in the middle of the street straight from a security camera. Things in the Bronx were getting wild again, and rumors started spinning out of control. Word on the streets was that Suave had gotten into it with someone from his own block. According to people who were there, he confronted the guy, kicked him down the street, and even spit on him while yelling, "Who gave this dude a pass?" That clip went viral fast, leaving everyone online debating whether it was just street drama or something deeper. Not long after that, whispers started flying that Suave might have been betrayed by people close to him. Some said he got backdoored, set up by folks he thought were family. But the drills still behind bars were quick to respond, telling everyone to stand on loyalty and stay solid if they were really repping the team. Even with most of the main members locked away, a few loyal ones were still out, keeping the name alive in the Bronx. Spaz, one of the group's original faces, had been taken off the streets back in 2020, right after Ops spotters started blowing up. He was on fire in the Bronx drill scene before getting hit with a 15-year sentence after a tragic incident involving a man named James Rivera. Around that same time, another member, Lee, began carrying the torch for the crew. He dropped songs that caught heavy traction online and even called out rivals directly across social media. But Lee's run didn't last either. During Operation Drilling, he was caught up in the sweep and sentenced to 6 years in prison. With so many core members locked up, the drill's momentum in the rap game slowed down hard. By the time Suave came home, the Bronx drill wave had already faded. leaving him trying to find his place again. Sadly, he couldn't escape the streets completely, and that's what led to his tragic ending. His story became a reminder of how fast success and the streets can collide. If you want to stay tapped in with the latest Bronx stories, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You don't want to miss what's going down next in our hood.